you, Jerry. If you're going up to those fireworks stands this weekend, do not ask for M80s or cherry bombs. Oh, man. How stupid was I? Not only did I fail woodshop in the 9th grade, I used to use cherry bombs and M80s with Jerry Gephardt. So just, if you want to end up like me. All right, this is Jesus and Tim in Las Vegas. So delighted you're with us. My goal is to try to get out 300 gospel tracts a day on the bridges and on Fremont Street Experience. I went out on Fremont Street Experience last night for the first time in a couple of weeks. I'd been in the hospital for real high blood pressure. Apparently your blood pressure is supposed to be lower than 180 over 110. And we had a good time last night and handed out camels in the tent. This tells the truth about Islam, and they've probably read it at the White House. But you can read it at chick.com, and Parliament is going nuts in Britain. They're wanting to label this as hate literature, and but so get it while you can, and get it to our Muslim friends. We'll be handing this out. I'll be wearing my I Love Muslims shirt with John 9:35 through 38. That's where Jesus says he's the Son of God. When do prophets lie? I'll be wearing that shirt at the Republican convention, not inside, outside, giving it to the thousands of Muslim protesters that will be there. Actually, I'll be handing out Allah Had No Son, and Mike will be handing out camels in the tent. So if you want to read those, go to chick.com and just pray for many of our Muslim friends to come to know the Lord and leave that religion. Get into that another day. Well, I'll tell you, Mark Britton will have today's broadcasts. Thank you so much, Mark, for all you do. At jesusandandtim.org. You could hear it today after the program, jesusandandtim.org. And Dave Peffley has put out the July newsletter. It is phenomenal. Just thank you so much, Dave. Go to jesusandandtim.org and then click on newsletter, and you'll see what he does. You should have seen it when I had it. It was nothing like it is today. And I'm so grateful for both those guys, Mark Britton and Dave Peffley. Now, our guest today is one of my heroes. If Jesus were to ask me, all right, Tim, who are your 5 biggest heroes? Not that Jesus wouldn't know, but this man is near the top of the list, after my dad, of course. My dad was the greatest guy who ever lived, next to Jesus. But Dr. Ken Hovind, I am delighted to have you with us. Creation Science Evangelism. You used to be on with Tim and Al on KBRT in Southern California and then KJSL in St. Louis for a number of years. And we're delighted to have you out of jail and back ministering again.
Well, thank you, brother. It's an honor to be with you.
For folks who don't know much about Dr. Ken Hovind, what could you tell them?
You're right, my detail. I spent nearly 9 years in federal prison for the dumbest law in the history of the country. I'd never heard of that before. I took my money out of the bank, and I'm less than $10,000.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out here. Repeat what you just said. I don't know. Go ahead.
I'm out in the middle of the country in Alabama. I'm walking up trying to find a high spot to get better signal. But, yes, I was a high school science and teacher for 8 years. I moved to Pensacola, Florida 27 years ago. Saw an article in the paper that said dinosaur bones were found from 80 million years ago. And I wrote my first ever letter to the editor. And they said, no, these dinosaurs are not 80 million years old. They're drowned in the flood in the days of Noah. They're about 4,400 years old. And you would have thought I shot the sacred cow. I got called everything but a white boy for the next 6 months. And finally, the university asked me to come debate professors on creation versus evolution. And I did. And I tore them up pretty bad. And a lot of churches began asking me to come speak. And that led to a full-time ministry of me traveling and speaking nearly 900 times a year on creation versus evolution, and how dinosaurs fit into the Bible, and how the Bible is scientifically accurate in every detail. The Earth is not millions of years old. The flood explains the fossils and the geologic column, and the Grand Canyon probably formed in a week. Well, stuff like that. I travel and speak all over the place on that topic and defend the Bible as being scientifically correct.
Now, I know when we take your videos into jail, Clark County Detention Center, man, they are a hit. The guys absolutely love you. How can people get your videos today?
Well, our website is drdino.com, D-R-D-I-N-O, or 2peter3.com. It all goes to the same place. DinosaurDetroitland.com also. But we've produced videos in 40-some languages on the creation evolution topic, and they've seen probably to the Lord and get saved watching it. You're right, prisoners love them. It's just very simple, my fourth grade style of teaching. It explains everything in a way people can get it. Say, wow, yeah, I got it. So,
what do you say to people who believe in the flat earth? We're hearing that a lot these days. And the Bible talks about the orb of the earth, the circle of the earth.
Right. Parts of the earth are flat. Kansas is pretty flat. I've been across there a couple of times. Some of Texas, wow. Some of Texas is really flat.
Yes.
No, the earth is round. It's I don't understand how they come up with this stuff. It blows my mind. So people can believe what they want, and they will. Mm-hmm. But no, the earth is a ball, and it spins, and it goes around the sun. Just crazy. I think it's just embarrassing Christians for those. I think they're trying to defend the Bible. I appreciate their zeal to defend what they think is the Bible teaching.
Right.
It does not teach the earth is flat.
Yeah, right. Years ago, I did an interview with George McLean. He was a Beverly Hills architect who had met the Lord. He built homes for Elizabeth Taylor and Dean Martin. And I asked him, George, when did you realize the Bible was the Word of God? And he said, I was reading Proverbs 6, verse 6, and it said, go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. And I knew when I read that, we didn't know the working was a female until the microscope had been invented 200 years previous. If Solomon had said, consider his ways and be wise, you could have thrown the Bible out. I was curious to see what the NIV, the nearly inspired version, said, and I went and it said, go to the ant, you sluggard, consider its ways and be wise. And I thought, man, George might have not become a believer if he had read the NIV. But then he went on to say that he read in the Bible where Isaac had been circumcised on the 8th day, and that's when we circumcise children today on the 8th day because the blood coagulates more that day. There's more vitamin K in the blood. Then he read in Job where it talked about the orb or the circle of the earth, and when the Bible was written, the Greeks, who were supposed to be so wise, thought the world was on the back of Atlas, and the Hindus thought it was on the back of elephants on these turtles in this huge cosmic pond. Then he talked about in Jeremiah, he saw it said where the stars were without number. He said when the Bible was written, science was saying there was 1,100 stars in the universe. One scientist said there were 1,190. Time after time after time, science is caught up on the Bible. Can you give us some other illustrations of how science has done that?
Well, George Washington died because the doctors took out his blood to get him over the flu, and right beside him was a Bible that said the life of the flesh is in the blood.
Right, excellent. Leviticus 17:11.
Right. The Bible is not written primarily to be a science book. It doesn't tell you, how many inches there are in a meter and stuff like that. But when it deals with a topic, it is always exactly 100% accurate. Mm-hmm. If you add up the dates in the Bible indicates the earth is about 6,000 years old, not millions of years old. Mm-hmm. That's scientifically accurate. The Bible says that people lived to be nearly 1,000 years old, over 900, before the flood came. And there's legends from every country around the world, every major ancient country. There's legends of a golden age when man used to live to be 1,000. Mm-hmm. Now, why would they have all these legends? Because it's true. Yeah. So 300 and some flood legends have been discovered now where people talk about a worldwide flood. One family surviving in a boat. That's what the Bible says.
Right. How close do you think we are to the end?
Well, I was in prison for nearly 9 years for structuring, the dumbest law ever. I had to change my theology to become post-trib, pre-wrath. We are here for the tribulation. We are not here. The wrath of God falls on the planet. For 40 years, I believed, we can be raptured out any second. It's called the pre-tribulation rapture idea, and I wish it was true. I still wish it was true, but it's not. So someone asked me while I was publishing piece at a time of my book from prison. They wrote the question, when do you think the Lord's coming? And I wrote back and said, obviously, I don't know, and I don't want to get, hammered for making a false prophecy because I have no clue. However, since you asked, If I had to guess, my guess would be 2028, with the tribulation starting in 2021. And I gave my 25 reasons, or whatever it is, why I picked that number as opposed to any other number. So I don't know. I really think it's going to get much worse. And I had to change theology on the two legs of iron in the vision that Daniel interpreted for King Nebuchadnezzar. He said, Jeff Daniel said, there's going to be a vision, an image, legs of iron. And used to teach the empire.
You're cutting in and out, Dr. Hovind, again.
I'm sorry. I'm way out in Lenox, Alabama. You've got to come see this new place. Anyway, I changed my theology. I do believe that's probably the Ottoman Empire. That's going to be the legs of iron at the end. We'll see. I don't know.
The church is not mentioned after Revelation chapter 4, verse 1. Your thoughts on that?
Well, that's correct, probably because there aren't going to be many left. Jesus said in Luke 18:8, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth? And will there be anybody left? In Matthew 24, at the beginning of the chapter, and in Mark 13, and in Luke 21, verse 3.
I'm sorry?
I know a lot of people that aren't thinking right now.
Right.
They think not. So you can comprehend it.
How did God use you in jail? We're still experiencing some in and out. I wish I had told you to be on a landline, and I dropped the ball on that. But how did God use you in jail?
Now, we don't have a landline out here. We just barely got sunshine out here in Alabama. But I wrote.
Hello?
I wrote 37 books. I led 800 men to the Lord. I held Bible study 4 times a day. Also, real life-changing conversions. I don't want to do it again, but all in all, it was a great experience in many ways. I was able to do a lot of study and earned another master's and 2 more doctorates. And the books are still changing lives. My books I did on all kinds of topics. End times is one of them. I became a strong proponent of shutting the whole jail system down. I'm embarrassed. It took me going to prison to find out that God's Word never authorizes prison. In the Bible days, you got to fine, a beating, or executed, but there shouldn't be any prisons at all. They should shut them down. I asked probably 1,000 guys. They were moving me all over the country in prison. I said, if you were given the option after trial of 5 years in prison or 20 lashes, which would you take? All of them said 20 lashes. I said, which would be cheaper for society? Well, 20 lashes. Which would be better for your family? Well, 20 lashes. You go home, you're sore for a week, and then you're fine. Whereas now there's a 99% divorce rate from people who go to prison for more than a year. Which would be a better deterrent to not do it again. Yeah. 20 lashes.
Well, that's for sure. Boy, that's silly. Yeah, that's great. That is great. When Christians come across an evolutionist, what should they say? Let's say you're waiting for a bus and you only have 2, 3, 4 minutes to talk with someone, and they get into this discussion of evolution. I talked to a lady the other day. I was presenting the gospel to her, and she didn't want to hear it. She brought up evolution. What do you recommend that approach do you recommend a Christian take?
Well, I ask them, what do you mean by that word evolution? because that word has 6 different meanings. It's a real slippery word. Are we talking about cosmic evolution, the origin of time, space, matter with the Big Bang? Well, that's not science. Are we talking about organic evolution, where life gets started from non-living material? Nobody's ever seen that happen. See, science deals with things that we can observe, study, test, and demonstrate. Evolution is not science. It's a religion.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking about macroevolution, where animals change to some other kind? No one's ever seen that happen. Yeah. Every farmer in the world counts on evolution not happening. When they crossbreed their cows, they expect to get a cow, and so far it's worked every time. So if you get them to define the word, what do you mean evolution? If they simply say, well, that means change over time, I say, okay, are the changes limited? We now have 900 species of bats in the world. Okay, they might have had a common ancestor called a bat. That doesn't prove bats and bananas are related, which is what the evolutionist believes.
Mm-hmm.
They believe bats and bananas are related.
Yeah. What if you're a student and you don't want to get bad grades, but you want to present what you're sharing to the teacher, and how would you go about it then?
Well, I would answer a question on a test or something. I would say, or an essay. I would say the textbook says, blah, blah, blah. You know, repeat what you want, what they're supposed to teach you, so they know you did study the material. And then I would say, however, this is not correct for the following 7 reasons. You know, I would go ahead and, let them know, hey, I learned this stuff, but I don't believe it. That's how I would handle it.
Now, they can get more information by going to drdino.com or 2peter3.com.
Yes, sir. drdino.com and 2peter3 go to the same place.
Okay.
We are 70 miles straight north of Pensacola in Lenox, Alabama, building our new dinosaur adventure land. If they want to come up and bring a hammer, we're working like mad here.
Okay.
It's been amazing the way God provided this property for us.
That's wonderful. Now, you're no longer with your son, and what happened? There was a divorce. I almost hesitated even to ask this, but a lot of people bring it up. What happened?
Well, it's all covered on the internet, all over the place. A good place to go would be my YouTube channel, Kent Hovind Official. About 4 days ago, I did a broadcast about the confusion between my son's ministry, and my ministry, Creation Science Evangelism. I asked him to manage everything for me. Been working with me for 8 years. And he panicked, thinking the government was going to seize everything. And then he claims he sold everything to himself, the ministry. God. And so when I get home, where's all the stuff I trusted you with? The forklift, the shelving, the on and on and on. It's a ministry. Oh, Dad, I bought all that. That now belongs to GodQuest. I said, well, I didn't sell it to you. The trustee didn't sell it to you. Yeah, he thinks he bought it also. There's still quite a bit of friction. And then my wife took his side. This was about 8 years ago. And they let me know in no uncertain terms that I had nothing. So I came home to nothing, and literally nothing. And so God has blessed amazingly well, and I think God will use them in a great way. My wife decided to divorce me years ago, and then finally made it final here a couple weeks ago. So, yeah, it's sad. Almost 43 years of marriage, and sure wasn't my wishes or wants, and I still would like to see it reversed and undone and all that, but I don't currently see any short or long-term solution. I think she's made her decision.
When people would ask me about Dr. Hovind, and you were, like I said, one of our favorites on Tim and Al, Mornings with Tim and Al, I would say he is not guilty. This man is not guilty. What questions did you have for God during those 9 years? Wondering, we only got about 3 minutes left. How did you deal with that?
Well, I wrote a book on that topic called Why on Earth Did God Let This Happen, for heaven's sake? I did a series of probably 400 or 500, maybe 600 short stories writing to different Bible characters, or different characters writing to God or writing to each other, like I wrote to John the Baptist, here he is saying, God, I did what you told me, and now they're coming to cut my head off. Now, why? And so I think every Christian goes through that question at some point in their life. Why on earth did God let this happen? And so that would be best answered in that book. Book 1 is done. Book 2 is just, I think, off to press now. Why on earth did let this happen, for heaven's sake? So if they want to read that book, it's on 2peter3.com. Dr. Dino, D-R-D-I-N-O, in place, or they can simply call 855-BIG-DINO. 855-BIG-DINO is toll-free. They can call that and get the information about our ministry. We don't even have a catalog yet. I haven't been out of prison for 1 year, but then we've been swamped building this new property up here. But boy, has it been amazing watching God supply.
And somebody donated that land to you?
Yes, unbelievable.
That is phenomenal. Now, what kind of workers do you need?
Well, let's see. We're doing electrical, plumbing, heating right now, carpentry. It's 150 acres with 5 lakes on it. The guy donated to us. It's phenomenal. It's an old gravel pit. 488 Pearl Lane, like Pearl, a great price. If someone goes on the internet, it's Lenox, L-E-N-O-X, little tiny town in southern Alabama. We've got about 20 people here. They come and stay for a few days or a week, and they donate their time. It's just really amazing watching God put it together. We're moving our shipping and receiving of material up here actually Monday, and so frantically trying to get the walls up and sheetrock up and get the room finished so we can have an office space. So mostly carpentry, painting. Landscaping is a little lower on the list, but there's a whole lot of it that needs to be done. It's just a raw land trying to create.
So should they then just call 855-BIG-DINO to volunteer?
Sure, yes, sir. That was wonderful. We got players from all over the world: Washington, Oregon, Ukraine. Will come and spend a few days or spend a week. And everybody that comes, it just loves this place. It is so cool.
Wow. Hey, thank you, brother. I hope to see you. I just spent some time in the hospital, so it'll be a while before I get up there. But okay. I really appreciate you, your ministry, and thank the Lord for all you've meant to so many others. And those souls you led to the Lord in jail, over 800, that's phenomenal. We pray the Lord will grow them as well. Thank you, brother. Dr. Ken Hovind's been our guest. God bless you, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. If you'd like a copy of today's broadcast, you'd like to hear it, just go to JesusAndAndTim.org, click on Archive and Schedule, and Mark should have that up shortly. JesusAndAndTim.org, Archive and Schedule, and the newsletter is out, the July newsletter. Thank you, Dave Peffley. JesusAndAndTim.org, and just click on Newsletter. Thank you so much, my friend. Be with me as I hit the area bridge with Camels in the Tent here shortly, that many souls will be saved. Live for the Lord, bring home all A's, and tell your friends and neighbors about Jesus. God bless you.
When you're up against a struggle that shatters all your dreams, and your hopes have been cruelly crushed by Satan's manifested scheme, and you feel the urge within you to submit to earthly fears, don't let the faith you're standing in seem to disappear. Praise the Lord, He can work for those who praise Him. Praise the Lord, for our God inhabits praise. Praise the Lord, for the chains that seem to bind you serve only to remind you that they drop powerless behind you when you praise Him. Now Satan is a liar, and he wants to make us think that we are paupers when he knows himself we're children of the King. So lift up the mighty shield of faith, for the battle must be won. We know that Jesus Christ